Welcome to Films and Stuff with your hosts, Pete Mitchell and Ethan Hunt.
Hi, everybody. Welcome back to the Films and Stuff podcast. I'm Ethan, joined by most valuable Pete. Hey, Pete, what's up today?
Not much. How are you?
I'm tripping all over my words, and the reason is the day has come. I don't know how many years, how many months. I don't know what it's been, but the new Captain America was released last weekend, and in a Films and Stuff exclusive, you and I watched it together.
That's right. We got to see it in all its glory in the same cinema hall, something we haven't done since Dune Chapter 1.
Since Dune Chapter 1. And it was also in 3D, so maybe that was our first 3D movie we've seen together.
That's correct.
Lot to unpack here. Good, bad, and otherwise. Let's start with the basics. You and I watching it together notwithstanding. But what was your level of excitement for Captain America? Because it's been a minute since we've seen an MCU film. I mean, like a proper film, right? Not Madam Web, not some of the other stuff, but like a real MCU film.
I know what you mean, because Deadpool is a part of the MCU, but not really.
Not really.
It's not. Deadpool hasn't really moved the MCU story forward or backwards, right?
No.
I would argue that some of the movies have moved things backwards, but
And arguably he's in a different universe as well, right? He's not in 616.
that's correct.
Yeah, Deadpool doesn't count, although our level of excitement obviously was through the roof, justifiably so. But Captain America Brave New World, weird title. What's the last real MCU movie we saw?
Probably the Marvels.
Okay, so it's really been a while. We saw Captain America and Winter Soldier, right?
Yeah.
The Falcon and Winter Soldier, which was the Disney miniseries.
Yep.
That kind of was important in taking where Captain America left off after Avengers Endgame.
Yeah.
And transitioning it to this new Captain America movie, which has Captain America as a character, but not the Chris Evans, who is universally synonymous with being Captain America himself, right?
Yeah.
That said, not everyone saw Falcon and Winter Soldier, nor should they have needed to. But I felt that this movie was going to be ready to hit the ground running, so to speak, because we already had that series as the transition piece.
Yeah.
But it's like that didn't really happen. And I felt that we spent a lot of time refreshing our notes.
Yeah. And I think they did that purposely. I think that what Ethan is alluding to is the fact that Sam Wilson, who was the Falcon and is now Captain America, played by Anthony Mackie, in the TV series. If you saw Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which became Captain America and the Winter Soldier, a lot of it was him struggling and coming to terms with the fact that Steve Rogers asked him and handpicked him to become the new Captain America.
Mm-hmm.
And him turning that down, struggling with it, and then eventually taking up that mantle.
Yeah.
That in itself is an important struggle, don't get me wrong, because, look, we talked about this in person, but I think a lot of it had to do with, the political climate, not just in the MCU, but potentially also in the real world, as well as the fact that he's a Black character, which again has a lot of political repercussions, not just in the MCU, but also in the real world. And, look, we don't want to get into it, but unfortunately,
we have to get into it because they brought it into the movie.
They brought it into it. And whereas the MCU used to be a nice way to kind of escape the real world politics, that TV series in particular brought it together. And so you had to really come close to you had to really confront it.
I think that's what disappoints me a little bit is that look, I'm a huge Anthony Mackie fan. He's great. I don't have any problems with him being Captain America, but I want to see him be Captain America. I felt like they diminished him, like as a character and kind of as an actor, as going through the whole series of, Falcon and Winter Soldier. You know, I agree. There's a lot to unpack. Your friend left or died. He asked you to take up the mantle. It's a big thing, right? And it's fine to have a series that addressed, some of those complicated issues because again, it can't be ignored. But that I felt should have been something of the past. And I wanted to see this as a movie showing off Captain America, the shield, the uniform, everything. And
He's accepted the role, he's
yeah,
accepted the responsibility, he's moved on from
yeah,
that emotional burden.
yeah. And if our Anthony Mackie as a person, like as an actor, I'd be like, guys, like I want to play the role. Like I'm finally the lead. Let me play the guy. Why am I in this like melodrama, kind of sad? I'm not sure if I'm the right guy. Do I doubt myself? Like I just felt it really diminished him as an actor. And the one thing that you're trying not to do, you ended up doing by focusing on the thing that you weren't supposed to do. Does that make sense?
Yeah, and I mean, he must have been in the movie in the Captain America uniform for like
Yeah.
15 minutes.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, plus, I'm not going to see a superhero movie to see Captain America in jeans and a t-shirt
Yeah.
mull and whine and bitch
Yeah.
about the fact that, he's not Steve Rogers. You had
Yeah.
an entire mini series to do that, and you did that, and you
Yeah.
even came out of it at that last episode,
Yeah.
accepting
Agreed.
that burden. So why the
Yeah.
hell are we going through it again and
Yeah.
again?
Yeah. I don't think it advanced the story and it wasn't compelling. And to be honest, when you're making at its core, MCU is trying to get people to see movies. It gets people to see movies by having compelling, interesting movies, right? And I thought that this not just storyline, but like overarching theme to the movie did not deliver on entertainment value and it didn't encourage more people to come. No one's going to go and be like, oh my God, like the emotional journey, very powerful. You've got to see the movie. It's MCU, which to be honest is supposed to be a little bit fluffy
Yeah,
and supposed to be focused on the stuff. And we should have been like, he's a badass Captain America, which he is when they let him. He's got a great uniform. It is a great uniform. We didn't get to see nearly enough of it. And I think they really did him an injustice by focusing so much on those issues.
I want to see some issues of emotional weight, but I don't want those issues to also be so
Yeah.
classically related to real world
Yeah.
issues.
Yeah.
I get it. You and I are obviously, I mean, we're not black. We can't understand that plight.
Well, we're not white. We're not white either,
We're
by the
not
way.
white either, by the way. And at the end of the day, there's also a significant, like, I need movies, especially MCU movies, to be a great dose of escapism.
Yeah.
And the conflicts that I see want to be believable and real, but not too real. And this was too real.
Yeah. I mean, I just also, like I said, I felt it diminished the issue a little bit by focusing so much on the issue. And I think that making him an amazing Captain America would have been the best way to nip this issue in the bud
Yeah.
and come out, better on the other side.
Yeah.
Okay, what's the point of this movie? Like, if you start a movie and you say, look, we're going to make a Captain America, all right, I'm all in. What do you want Captain America to do? What is this supposed to do to advance MCU? Where do you want this character to come out on the other side? Then let's write the story accordingly, right?
Yeah. And they really were trying to go with this espionage spy thriller vibe,
Yeah.
but you can't do that and also focus on political issues. Just focus on the espionage, focus on the mystery. Who's the
Yeah.
bad guy pulling the strings? And heaven help me, they made it so obvious who it was. They should have been a little bit more tactful about trying to hide the identity of the main bad guy. And I don't think they pulled it off, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, I understand the point that with Thanos gone, you probably need to make the issues a little bit more localized,
Yeah.
and that's okay. But it's just kind of a question of why him, why now, and where have you been all my life? Like, where have you been the last 15, 20 years? Like, I thought there was a better way to do it. I thought that the link with the Eternals, they actually did an okay job to try to link these together.
Yeah.
That would be a bigger plot line. Like, I think they could have stretched that out over a few movies, and that would be like probably something worth exploring a little bit more. I thought they just made the whole thing like a parceled single episode movie, and that's it. Okay, all those problems are solved. Bad guy disposed of. This issue resolved, right? Kind of too fast.
I mean, okay, we're beating around the bush. Spoiler alert. Who's the main bad guy? We see Samuel Stearns come back as the leader from the Edward Norton Hulk movie all the
Yeah,
way back to just start the MCU.
I don't know. I just felt the whole plot of this movie. And look, we know what we're expecting. I mean, you're running out of characters. MCU again is not intended to be like overly complicated, but I just felt if you're going to make that basic plot and that's your bad guy, I can get behind that. Let's have a really enjoyable movie.
Yeah.
Let's have something that has a lot of humor, makes me laugh. It's witty, it's quirky. There's some great action sequences, and we can say that was a great movie. I really enjoyed it. That's a popcorn munching movie. Plot, not amazing, but the movie made up for it. If you're not going to have the plot and you're not going to have an enjoyable movie, what do you have left?
Yeah.
And that's the downside, I thought, of Captain America Brave New World, which was it seemed to be 1 2 hour explanation, like a recap, almost
Yeah.
like a narrative recap. Like this is where we last left off, right? Our characters, bloody, 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 blah. And then they kind of like advance them to the next MCU film. But in the middle, they didn't give us anything. Like it was just a recap, nothing more.
And they didn't really even expand us to the next film, right? Like
No.
we know, you and I know that the next film coming out is the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
But there was no link to the Thunderbolts. There was no mid-credits cameo. There was no nothing that
No.
was moving forward. And they
Mhm.
tied the bow up so neatly about the adamantium and Celestial coming out here.
Yeah.
There was no like, how do I introduce the Fantastic Four in 2 movies? How do I introduce the X-Men in 10 movies? How do I introduce anybody else in the next few movies? We don't really know.
I mean, I'd go one step further and say, I'm more confused than ever why we even need the Thunderbolts. Like, we're going to recreate the Avengers. Captain America is back. And you're saying we've now become kind of so pathetic that we're going to take like the Thunderbolts and like let them do these major missions?
And one of the plot points of this movie was, hey, we want you to create the new Avengers
Yes.
again.
Yeah. It should have been Mackie saying, look, I don't know how they could have done this, but either they needed to go to a different universe and the Thunderbolts were all we had left, or Mackie had to say, look, the Avengers were something special. That's not happening anymore. Like, I need time with this other group in the interim. And then Ross is like, well, fine. Like, I'm not waiting for you. I'm gonna activate the Thunderbolts. To me, I'm more confused than ever why we need the Thunderbolts if the Avengers are supposed to come back, you know?
I think what's going to happen is that the beginning of the Thunderbolts movie, where, we've got that scene in, like, I guess, Congress from
Mhm.
the trailer. I think that's what's going to happen. I think that Julia Louis-Dreyfus's character is going to say, look what happened with President Ross. He turned into the Hulk. We don't have the Avengers anymore. Let me get congressional authority to create my own super team. And I've already got a bunch of people that I've been selecting over the past few movies. I think that's what's going to happen. And if that were the case, then my God, like they should have teed it up in this movie.
Yeah.
Even if it was in the trailer, or sorry, the end credit
End credit.
sequence.
Yeah, I agree. That's the problem is that you tried to advance to the next movie, but you failed in doing that as well.
Yeah. Oh, well, there's so many people coming out. There's another thing. It's a vague thing. They keep talking about the multiverse.
Yeah.
We've heard about the multiverse. We've seen the multiverse. We
Mhm.
understand it. Like you need to be a little bit more definitive with the end credits.
Yeah. I think also MCU is struggling and maybe this is what happens when there's a studio that's kind of run by committee.
Yes.
I would imagine that there's a lot of ideas in terms of who should be like who are the main guys now? You know, I mean, it used to be so simple. You know, it's Iron Man, Captain America, right? They each stood for something.
Yeah.
You had Thor on one side, you had Hulk on the other side. Hawkeye and Black Widow were like excellent kind of human supporting characters. And then you had Spider-Man as the enthusiastic, new guy to the group, right? You threw in Ant-Man for a little bit of like comic relief and that was your team, right? Now I bet someone's like, well, I don't know if Anthony Mackie can do it. We got to find a new Falcon. Falcon to me added
Nothing.
nothing,
Absolutely nothing.
nothing.
You said this a couple times when we walked out of the cinema,
Yeah,
but it felt like a safe move.
yeah,
It didn't feel like they were swinging for the fences. It felt like, hey, the last couple movies have been
yeah.
bombs. They've been critically and commercially unsuccessful. Let's just put out a Captain America movie that isn't trying to do anything spectacular, but isn't a bad movie. Like this wasn't a bad movie, but this certainly wasn't memorable.
It wasn't memorable, but I just don't understand that there was no direction in the movie. It's like they just started filming and said like, okay, everyone just kind of like ad lib and be yourself.
So apparently half the movie was reshot.
Why?
Apparently Giancarlo Esposito's character wasn't even supposed to be in the movie. And then they did a few reshoots and they added him in.
I thought he was quite good.
I thought he was fine.
Maybe even a high point. Yeah.
I also think that a lot of the things that they added or that he was a part of was very expository. And I think they made a movie and then they realized that, you know what, maybe only 10% of our audience saw the TV series. So we need to add some bulk and do a lot of explanation and get everyone on the same page. And so I think that that's what this movie was, is how do we get everyone back into the MCU main page? And that's what this was. It was, you have to watch this because this is going to be the first movie going forward. And from now, the gears are, we're going to pedal to the metal.
I will accept that. What I will not accept is that has to be mutually exclusive with having an enjoyable movie.
Yes.
The choice isn't, hey guys, should we have a movie that's funny and has a lot of, quirky scenes in it, or should we have a movie that gets everyone on the same page? Vote for one or the other. There's no reason why you can't combine those two.
Yeah.
And you and I said it like a few times. To me, MCU is known for the most basic example. Someone's, jogging in the park. They've got their headphones on. They're listening to, like learning a second language or some, very soft, quiet elevator music. And behind them is like carnage, right?
Yeah.
Like all this crazy stuff. And the MCU to me was always really good at those juxtapositions, like the funny things where you laugh because like, ha ha ha, all hell is breaking loose behind this jogger, and the jogger doesn't even realize because they're listening to Anya, right?
Yeah.
And that costs zero, right? There's no FX. That's zero, right? To just get the extra to like, put on a pair of shorts and jog in front of the action scene. None of that. There was no quirky, funny scenes. There was no characters ribbing each other, like ongoing jokes threaded through scene after scene after scene. None of the hallmarks of what made MCU so funny, right? If you think of like Guardians of the Galaxy, when you think of Thor, Iron Man, they all have kind of these running jokes, right?
Yeah.
And this had nothing. The only time I can even remember an attempt at a joke was when President Ross Harrison Ford turned into the Red Hulk and someone said, "Oh, he's red now,"
Yeah.
which is maybe not even intended to be a funny line because that's just a factual statement, but that was delivered with enough kind of surprise that that could possibly be the only funny line in the movie. It's not like anything else fell flat, right? When Bucky showed up, he delivered a serious speech. All the scenes with, Falcon were serious. He didn't have any quirks, right? Unlike Tom Holland, when he was Spider-Man, he was so quirky and funny. We talked about, his aunt, right? How everyone's always hitting on his aunt and stuff.
Right.
Like there was nothing like that even remotely here. Zero. So I'm disappointed with the movie because it's not that it fell flat and that it was safe. It's like, or maybe it's because it's safe. It didn't try. I just feel like it didn't try.
What did you think of the Hulk as the bad guy and the leader?
I would not have minded. I mean, first of all, it's a little bit of a misnomer that the Hulk was a bad guy because the way that you see the trailers or the previews, you expect this to be an entire movie about those two, right? And the way those usually go in the MCU is they have a big face off and the Hulk destroys Captain America.
Yeah.
Captain America is humbled. He starts to doubt himself. Someone bulks him up. He's got a new plan. Then they face off again in the big finale and then he wins, right?
Yeah.
That's kind of the MCU formula. Here, we didn't even get the Red Hulk until kind of like the penultimate scene.
Yeah.
And I thought like maybe Liv Tyler would come in and calm down the dad. But instead, it was just kind of like he smashed Captain America. And then Captain America's like, "Hey, dude, this isn't you. You're better than this. Don't be a jerk." And then Hulk was like, "Yeah, you're right. I'm better than this." And then he came back to Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
Like it was fully unimaginative. It would have been better if like Captain America would have transported him to the Eternals Island, or Hulk would have jumped into the air. We never would have seen him again, or something would have happened where it's a recurring storyline because now he's Hulk.
Or, I mean, they shouldn't have revealed that he was Hulk.
Yeah.
I think that would have been a phenomenally great reveal. All of a sudden, you think the leader is the bad guy. You think that he's going to lead you towards this thing, and then all of a sudden, he's like, "Oh, but
Yeah.
but I have a Hulk." The
Yeah.
line that Loki says, and
Yeah.
Captain America says, and then Loki says, "But I have a Hulk," and Ross turns into the Hulk and starts battling it out. I think that would have been a phenomenal twist.
Yeah. I mean, it also begs the question, where is the Hulk?
Exactly. Why wasn't Mark Ruffalo in there?
I mean, let's just imagine where he is and She-Hulk, if you want to go into the universe.
Oh, God, yeah.
Are they just in California, like watching the news, like, "Oh man, a Red Hulk, like we should sit this one out"? Or like,
If you've got a Hulk in there, you need to have a Bruce Banner reference that's stronger than just Liv Tyler. With all due respect, he should have made a cameo if you were going to insist on having him be the bad.
even She-Hulk, we both hated that show
Yeah.
and it's awful. But this would have been the opportunity to kind of redeem her,
Yeah.
or to test if you wanted a second series, is she could have showed up. And again, we don't like the exposition, but she could have made a line why Bruce isn't here.
Yeah.
Right? Like Captain America could have said, "Banner, we need you." And then she shows up, "You've got me."
Yeah.
Right? Like there could have been a line or something. And then she battles the Hulk. I mean, that at least would have been something, but I don't know how you can say, "Hey, there's a Hulk and a She-Hulk," but what are they doing? She's in her law firm just working, like, "Nah, I don't need to get involved."
Nonsense. Yeah, exactly.
Banner's like a Red Hulk, like you said, in the world of playing it safe. That's just not playing it safe. It's almost like malpractice to be like, we've got this stable of characters and they're not even going to be acknowledged whatsoever, even though it's exactly in their wheelhouse and exactly,
Yeah.
not just to make it an amazing movie, but like just to like acknowledge the obvious in terms of there's two more Hulks. Why are they not referenced? at all. Anthony Mackie doesn't even like try to reach out to them, call
Yeah.
them. Like,
Yeah, and he's worked with them, right?
yeah,
Like they why
they're
wouldn't you?
friends. They're
Why
friends.
wouldn't you call
Yeah,
him up, right? And just say, hey, look, I need help. I need some tips. What can I
yeah,
do to calm him down?
yeah,
Right. And if you want to make it funny, you could have had him say, why don't you get Nat on the phone and try to get her to sing that song? Hey, the sun's getting real low, big
yeah,
guy. You know what I
yeah,
mean? Like
yeah. Like,
anything.
yeah, like he could have held up the phone. You could have Nat's voice, and the Hulk like smashes his phone, right? I
Yeah.
mean, like, you and I are just sitting here like spitballing. We're obviously not being paid for this, but there's a lot of ideas on how to make this movie better. And I know there's a lot of differences of opinion. You get 20 writers in the writers' room, but the idea to like, hey, let's just do nothing because we can't agree on what the right thing to do is, I feel like is malpractice as a strategy.
Yeah, I mean, you're right. I don't like She-Hulk at all. I think they really mishandled that TV series. But if you want a redemption for her, this could have been it.
Yeah. And I mean, not just a redemption. I mean, you made the show. You've got to live with it now.
Yeah,
She's out there. You can't just ignore and take it
yeah,
back and be like, nah. Or I mean, again, if you really wanted to tie the loose end up, you say, look, we're not going to do She-Hulk anymore. It had 0% ratings on Rotten Tomatoes. We just can't acknowledge her. Have her at least kind of in it, and then, I mean, not destroy her, but like there's a vaccine or something, and be like, well, now we're going to tie up that loose end, and she sacrificed herself for, the greater good, and now she's no longer Hulk, and Harrison Ford's no longer Hulk, right?
sure.
Because Harrison Ford, in theory, he's in this. What's this prison called?
The Raft.
Uh Casting I thought was good. I'm not stuck on Danny Ramirez as Joaquin Torres. I
Yeah.
just am not feeling his anything.
Casting, I didn't have a serious problem with, but I think the writing is where I had an issue, right? Like a lot of
Yeah.
these characters were introduced, but
Yeah.
not in a very satisfying way, right? Like
Yeah.
you had Layla Taylor introduced as Sam's friend in the White House. We
Yeah.
don't know anyone, we don't know anything about her. Other Black Widow introduced as the special agent
Yeah.
by Harrison Ford.
Yeah.
No backstory. She's a Black Widow or a former Black Widow. Why is there no reference to her anywhere else? Why is there no anything?
Yeah.
Okay, you acknowledge that she's a Black Widow and that's it, you're done.
Yeah. Yeah.
A lot of missed opportunities for an established.
Well, also, look, if we want to get into it, Black Widows were Russian trained, right?
Yeah.
Okay. I mean, does the president know that she was a Black Widow? Probably. Like, you wouldn't have, honestly, a Russian Black Widow as your chief of security as a president. I mean, that would just be,
I mean, yeah, you like Natasha was the same, but I get it. She wasn't really a part of the White House. She was on her own superhero team.
yeah, that's why she was an Avenger or a Thunderbolt, is because like you're a little bit like expendable. You're not really trusted.
Yeah. Yeah.
You're probably not going to make that person head of security. Anyway, that's getting into it. Where do we go from here?
On a practical timeline, in the next 2 months, or in the next 3 months, we've got the Thunderbolts releasing.
Which I am excited about.
That one looked like it had humor in it,
Yeah.
right? The trailer came out a couple weeks ago. Red Guardian's in there. He seems like he's got some funny lines in there.
Yeah.
Bucky seemed like he had some funny lines in
Yes.
there. All of them had what I would feel, at least based on the trailer, had the classic Marvel humor.
Do you think that this is something that happens, like you start off as like the fun little rogue group, and maybe you don't have the like these very established writers or kind of like up and comers, and they do the opposite. Instead of playing it safe, they've really pushed the envelope. We saw that with Deadpool, right?
Yeah.
Like they push the envelope, and they're way more enjoyable films. Like, because I agree, like what I saw from the trailers of Thunderbolts, I was laughing during the trailer, and this Captain America movie was utterly joyless. And I think it's strange that the smaller movie with the lesser characters is way more enjoyable and
Yeah.
fun than kind of like the big thing. And I think that's a little bit of the problem that the MCU is facing, is that they've made themselves big and lumbering
So mainstream and big now. Yeah.
and not very dynamic. And they're worried about explaining everything to everyone. And let me put it this way. When you talk about all the exposition, they're making it for, let's say, my sister or my brother. I'll tell you this, with all that explanation, my brother and sister probably understand it less. I don't think that all those explanations actually help anyone kind of understand what's going on. There's probably a better way to do it if that's really your concern. And even if they do get up to speed on it, the movie wasn't enjoyable. So what's the purpose?
Yeah.
That they understood the plot of an unenjoyable movie?
I think those explanations and exposition was more for fans like you and me who didn't see the TV series. And it's a way of catching everyone up.
I mean, you've got to make some hard choices, which is you've got to make people see movies in advance and shows in advance, or you've got to just make a really good movie and maybe you don't understand some of the motivation of the
Yeah.
character, but at least you're damn well enjoying the movie, and that kind of encourages you to go back and see the series
Yeah.
or the
No, I 100% agree. I think that's exactly the right
Yeah.
thing. I think you have a better chance of someone going back in time and saying, hey,
Yeah.
I really like Captain America 4.
Yeah.
I didn't really understand what happened with the Sokovia Accords. I didn't really understand
Right.
what happened with the Winter Soldier.
Yeah.
I'm going to go watch Captain America 2. I'm going to watch
Mhm.
Captain America Civil War. I'm going to watch Falcon and the Winter Soldier. And maybe I don't like those movies as much, or maybe I do like those movies, but guess what? I really like Captain America.
This is a technology solution that maybe doesn't exist yet, but maybe the MCU is the right way to do it. Maybe we need something on the screen. We've talked about interactive movies for a long time, right? And
Yeah.
Amazon Prime had X-Ray. Maybe the MCU needs to say, look, we need to start having QR codes in the corner of our movies where we say, like, don't know the Sokovia Accords? Learn about it here. Watch it here, right?
Referenced
Not,
in this movie at this
yeah,
time, in this comic at this
yeah,
time.
yeah. Not sure why Bucky has a metal arm? Learn about it here. Don't know what adamantium is? Learn about it here. And maybe Marvel needs to do less of these long-winded narrative Wikipedia explanations and instead be like, let's just make it easy for people to find out. Let's start inventing the second screen. You'll have a pop-up. You can read about it quickly on an MCU website. There will be a small, ad banner at the top. But let's help people like catch up without cramming it down their throat.
I think you go even simpler because you have the little QR code or something,
Yeah.
and it links to like a YouTube video or a short clip
Yeah.
where
Oh, yeah.
Anthony Mackie is there and says,
Yeah.
what's adamantium?
Oh, just like, you know what? Just like that little, I don't know what it was, the bee in Jurassic Park, or maybe even like,
Right. The little DNA strand.
yeah, the little DNA strand in Jurassic Park, or the lady who did it in The Big Short.
Right. When they did the cutaways
Yeah.
with Margot
Yes.
Robbie and with all the
Yes.
different guys. Yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
That's oh, man. Why are we not in this? Such good ideas.
Right.
But that would be a great
when you
idea.
do the release on DVD or on the
Yeah.
streamers, because
Yeah.
okay, I get that you wouldn't want to do that in the cinema, right? Like that's probably you could do it, but I think you distract from the movie.
Yeah.
Fine. But I bet that would be a great way where, if you're watching it at home, or even if you are
Yeah.
watching it in the cinema,
Yeah.
you scan it with your phone,
Yeah.
you get the QR code, and it cues it up and says, hey, this is what the Sokovia Accords are. And you've got
Yeah.
Robert Downey Jr. in his
Yes.
Iron Man costume
Yeah.
with Chris Evans in his Captain America
Yes.
costume and said,
Yes.
this is what Sokovia Accord was.
Yeah.
This is why it was a problem. Move on. Next clip.
Yeah.
What's adamantium? You have Hugh Jackman show up with
Yep.
his Wolverine claws and say,
Uh-huh.
this is adamantium, the most
Yep.
powerful metal in the world. Blah,
Yeah.
blah, blah. What's
Yeah.
vibranium? You have
Right.
the new Black Panther, Shuri,
Yep.
come up and say, hey, this is what
Yep.
vibranium is. All these small things, that I think would be a killer app
not just a killer app. It's almost beyond a good idea and necessary at this point.
Yeah, because the world is so big.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even me, I mean, there are, even like when you talk about like 616 and all the different worlds, and I have to say, even there are times when there's things that I need to look up.
Yeah.
So we're talking about these movies are becoming boring because they have to explain everything. Okay, well, you're still not explaining everything, but there's a better way to do this, and it's not getting easier. In fact, it's getting more complex. So there needs to be a better solution than just having a useless 2-hour movie where actors kind of recite things in the effort to try to get us to understand what we're doing. So we go to see the next thing where maybe they actually do that thing.
Yeah.
Will we solve that problem?
Disney, if you're listening, you can hire
Sure
us.
You are. In any case, what's a rating that we would give to this movie?
I mean, look, as much as I want to give it a good rating, this is at best a wait for streaming.
Yeah, I mean, if my brother's like, hey, should I go see it? I would definitely say wait for streaming. And I'd be like, don't worry if you don't see it, you didn't miss anything.
Yeah, exactly. But like, I certainly wouldn't tell your brother, hey, stop what you're doing, go to the cinema and watch it. Absolutely.
No way. No,
absolutely
that's fraud, to be honest.
Yeah.
I mean,
I think he would discount my opinion in the future. Whereas if he has Disney Plus, I'd say, hey, look, if it's on, and you're mildly interested in the MCU and you have some continuing interest, go for it. But if you don't watch it, you're not missing it. Yeah, I don't think it's a skip. There is some merit to it at the end of the day, but I don't think that it's a must watch.
Can I ask you a practical question about Captain America's uniform?
Yeah.
So actually, I thought his uniform with the white was pretty badass.
Yeah.
He's got the same shield.
Yeah.
But he's also got the falcon wings.
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Because that's his thing. He doesn't fly. He doesn't have super strength. He's got to have something.
I mean, but Captain America just had the shield, right?
Yeah, but he was also a super soldier. He didn't need anything else.
Okay. But Falcon's also got the falcon wings.
Yeah.
All right. I think that's everything that needs to be said about Captain America, Brave New World. Boring ass title. I know they're going to call it New World Order, which I thought was also a problem with like the WWE or whatever, which is NWO. And also it does sound like a little bit like Nazi-ish. Right?
Yeah, it's a little ominous.
So I guess that's not it. But I have to say Brave New World doesn't really give me anything.
They should have gone with the Serpent Society. I don't think they needed to have the leader, or they could have had the leader be the head of the Serpent Society. They could have done so many more things, but anyway.
Yeah. Okay. Pete, read off our YouTube creds and other social media jazz, please.
Of course. If you guys have any opinions on Captain America 4, did you like Anthony Mackie? Did you love the leader coming back? What's your feeling on the Red Hulk? Let us know. Tweet at us at FNS Podcast. DM us on Instagram at Films and Stuff Podcast. Or the best thing you can do, like this video, leave a comment below, subscribe to our channel, and hit that notification bell.
Could not have said it better ourselves. This was a Valentine's treat for us. All right. Everyone, thank you for joining the Films and Stuff podcast. Pete, as always, thank you for your exposition and more importantly, your expertise.
Thanks, Ethan. Thanks, everyone.
We'll see you next time. Films and Stuff podcast. Bye for now.
Thank you for listening to another episode of Films and Stuff. If you haven't already, please subscribe and review on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, or wherever podcasts are downloaded. Films and Stuff. There is no substitute.